What's up guys, Steady Striker here, and in this video, I'll be talking about how Dricus Plessis can beat Whittaker. I'm not saying that he's going to, this is just me kind of going into Dricus Plessis' camp and trying to think of how he can win because he's such a huge underdog. Me personally, you'll see my prediction later this week, but yeah, I mean, this is just purely a hypothetical. It's not it's not my actual prediction for this fight. It's how he can do it. Because anything can happen in MMA. But the first thing that I think, well, obviously this is the toughest fight of Dricus' career. And, it's against the best guys he's ever fought. But this is the first thing that I'm going to say he needs to do is Dricus Plessis actually has some kickboxing experience. And he needs to kick Robert Whittaker's legs out first of all. Whittaker, he stands in that wide karate stance. He's very open to it. We saw that in the Israel Adesanya fight. The only guy to, and even the Jared Cannonier fight, those guys really chopped Robert Whittaker's legs to bits. Vettori, he didn't do it for some reason. Kelvin Gastelum, he didn't do it. A lot of guys who fight Robert Whittaker, for some reason they just don't go for the leg kicks. It's they go for they try to headhunt him. But once you start going for the head too much, it's Whittaker's gonna see that coming. He's got great footwork, so that's the reason why. Because his movement is so good, he's so good defensively, and to eventually lead to how Dricus can win, he needs to start off by taking away his base. If he can't move, he's gonna be a lot easier to hit, so slow him down, go for leg kicks right away. Whittaker's gonna be on that jab, try to move away from that and then counter for leg kick or parry it and then go for the leg kick. But Dricus also has to set it up too, because Robert Whittaker can just blitz in with a right hand or a left hook that could drop Dricus. So he needs to throw a few feints out there, fake the leg kick a few times and then go for it. You don't want to just throw it naked. And even if you throw it naked, he could just get his leg out the way, slide it out the way. He's very fast, so that's why he needs to set it up. But that's the first thing. You need to go for those leg kicks early. The next thing I would say Dricus Plessis needs to do is use that left kick, because Dricus Plessis, if you've seen in his fights, in some of his earlier UFC fights, not like the Till or Brunson fight, but before that, he had a really good left kick. It doesn't matter if it's to the body or even to the head. He can just kind of snap it out there without a switch, which eliminates the telegraph. So it's gonna be harder to read, and it's a good weapon because Whittaker, you can mix it up to the body and the head. So he kind of keeps a low guard. So if you can just mix that up, that can make it open for Whittaker, because he's not gonna be able to react to that fast. And the way Dricus throws it is kind of fast, and he doesn't, like I said, doesn't telegraph it. So it's a really good kick. He kind of snaps it too. So mix it up to the body and to the head. It's gonna be hard for Robert Whittaker to read that, because the way he throws it, it looks similar for both. It's very hard to see the difference. There's a difference, obviously, but when you're in the fight versus him, it's gonna be very hard to see the difference. When he's throwing it and trying to land it. Another point I wanted to bring up for how Dricus can win is he's gonna need to do it in close range, because Robert Whittaker, like Israel Adesanya, he can fight very well from he can control distance very well. He can fight very well at his own range. He doesn't really let his opponents fight into their own personal range. He does a really good job of managing the distance, and that's how he controls a lot of his opponents, because he's so good at just controlling the space. But Dricus needs to slow him down first with those kicks and then close the distance, and Robert Whittaker won't be able to get away as fast, and he'll be forced to trade. Now, this is very dangerous because Dricus can get caught, he can get knocked out, but he's got a lot of power. I would say he's probably more powerful than Whittaker, whereas he's faster and probably more explosive. But Dricus probably hits harder, and I'm basing this off of the fact that, you know, even though he didn't look too great versus Brunson or Till, he was, and he didn't rock those guys, but he did, like, get a clean KO over Trevor Giles at middleweight like that. Even the guy he fought before, like, he was able to knock them out clean. He dropped Brad Tavares, and I know Robert Whittaker knocked out Brad Tavares early on, but I feel like he could be more powerful than Whittaker. But, or maybe it's just based off the fact that Whittaker is just fighting high-level guys. And, at the high level, you don't see as many finishes because everyone's just that much better. But, let's just assume that he hits harder or that he's more durable than Whittaker. And that's, like, the pocket is where you want to be, because even though it's dangerous, it's giving yourself a better chance than just being out of range and getting picked apart and, getting busted up. Because when you're in close range, you take away Whittaker's leg kicks. You just limit himself to his punches, which he's got really good hands and fast hands. But, if Dricus or Plessis can land that right hand, and if he can get to a distance where he can hit Whittaker and Whittaker can't hit him, because he's got the longer reach, then I think that'd be ideal. I think he's got a 4-inch reach advantage. He's got like a 77-inch reach, or Whittaker has a 73-inch reach. So that's a pretty significant reach advantage, And another way Dricus can win this fight, if he can implement this, is, grapple. Mixing the grappling with the striking. Because obviously we all know Robert Whittaker has great takedown defense. He was able to, like, defend the takedowns of Yoel Romero, Derek Brunson, and so many other guys. Like, he went up against guys like, Jacare Souza as well. But if Dricus can kind of get into that, like, sort of range that he can hit Whittaker, and Whittaker can't necessarily punch him, then I think if he gets into that range and, like, starts punching and mixing in takedowns and tries to confuse Whittaker, he might get a chance, but it's going to be very, very tough. But he needs to, like, do that and then try to push Whittaker into defense, which leads into my next point. That's, like, clinch Robert Whittaker as well. Dricus has, like, pretty good knees in the clinch. He's got like I said, a kickboxing background, so he needs to use that and, like, go for the knees in the clinch, go for the elbows, just roughen Robert Whittaker up. And the whole point is to kind of wear on Whittaker, because he's not going to beat Robert Whittaker in a clean fight. And I think we all know that, and that's why so many of us are thinking that Robert Whittaker is just going to run through this guy. But if he can make it dirty, wear on Whittaker, like, and make the fight dirty, he could win.